Hey guys, so today my dad is going to be showing you guys how to make a custom box just like this one. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, so welcome to the how to build a box and for your custom pop vinyls. This is the second video in the series. There'll be a third one of how to assemble it. This is a print of obviously the just random template that I built. It's got no specific pictures or anything in it, it's just blank. We're going to cut this up and show you how to do it. This is printed on that paper I was talking about, 250 GSM super glossy at Officeworks. I've purchased this. I've also purchased this green card, this one here. It's a 210 GSM card. I wanted just the standard brown colour that you get inside of like pop boxes like that, just the standard cardboard, but I can't find it, so this is the closest to it. It not only is not the right colour, it's probably not the right GSM, but it's enough that when I stick it to this, it really builds up the structure of this box and makes it so much better. And once the pop's inside, you really don't notice it anyway, so we're going to go that. So the things you're going to need today is a really sharp knife. If you find a knife around the house, make sure you snap the end off. The end of the knife is basically slides over there like that, and you snap it off and you've got a brand new sharp edge. I suggest you do that. Or inside the back of the knife, I don't have anything left, you've got brand new blades anyway, alright? So you just put a brand new one. It's worth doing because the last thing you want to be doing is having your pop vinyl having the hell ripped out of it when you don't need to, alright? So I think I just broke my knife, which is great. No, that just slides in there, look at that. Hey. So yeah, good sharp knife, right? You need one of these. You will need some glue. I use this stuff. It seems to set really fast. I've used it for plastic before, and I've since found that sometimes the plastic doesn't grab the best, so I might even use hot glue today and see how that goes. For the window part, I found these really flexible, and they fold and crease really well for your window here. These are just display covers when you're making custom folders and that you want to put a plastic display and they put the holes in it and bind it. That's all that is. They're like about 10 cents, so they're worth doing. You'll need a nice straight edge, anything that's got a straight edge. Make sure when you use your ruler, depending on what you do, I do a lot of artwork so it gets dirty, make sure you get some paper towel and rub it back and forth along the edges in the front and the back. That'll take any dirt marks off, and to test it you just run it on your hand. If you don't get any dirt marks, usually pretty good, but I just run it over a cloth or whatever I've got. So you need a nice sturdy ruler. And the last thing I use is a cutting mat. This is probably not the best size one considering the size of what I'm doing. It takes a bit of maneuvering. It'll stop you cutting your desk to pieces, so I suggest really good idea, cutting mat. Okay, the other thing you'll need to use in this is one of these, if I can find it. One of them. There you go, found it. Adhesive spray. I use this to stick this bit of print onto that. It grabs magnificent, and usually once you spray it, it takes about 10 minutes max, and it's fully cured and it's ready to cut. So first thing I'm going to do is spray that on this. It makes a hell of a mess, so that's why I've got such a big bit of card compared to the box. And I'll show you how I stick it down too with sign writing squeegee I've got, and it takes all the air out and makes it nice and neat. So let's get into that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, or actually the first thing you may notice is I've got some paper up around the edges here. That's just to stop any overspray from the adhesive glue that I'm going to use. The last thing you want is it all over your art, your benches and everything else. So I've done that, I've lined it up. When you put it on your cardboard like this, it's a good idea just to mark out to define the edges, just so when you're spraying you know you're going to get where you need to be. And the less you touch this print, the less chance you've got of damaging it or marking it, etc. So that comes off. But what I will show you is when I spray the glue on there, and then you lay your cardboard down. When you lay it, bend it, put it down so the center grabs, and then gently roll it down so it grabs everywhere you want. You then use one of these or a credit card or something. I've just put this is a sign writing squeegee, and I've just put a bit of felt over it to make it soft. And you use that and a bit of paper so you don't damage artwork, and you just lay it over like this, and you just work it to the edges so it glues down nice and neat, and you'll see that when I do it. That's all that's for. Once it's stuck down, it ain't coming off. Alright, so let's do that. So I've marked out my spots where I want the glue to be. I've got everything else out of the way that I don't want glued. And you make sure you give this sucker a really good shake. I've already done it for a minute before I started. And then you spray it on where you need it. Obviously the edges you want to make sure you've got that covered. Give it a coat. You just let it sit for a second just so it gets a bit tacky. Like at present it's really slippery. So it doesn't take long, it air dries out really quick. Then you get your artwork. It doesn't have to be a perfect spot as long as it's close. And you put your artwork on there like this. You'll feel it grab. And then you force it onto itself and just let it go. Grab your paper, but when you put your paper on, don't stick it on the overspray glue bit because it won't come off. Push that down there gently. And you go from the center and you work out. Just like that. Putting pressure on to make sure you get all your edges down. Be careful you don't stick it like I nearly did. And then opposite way obviously, you go from the center, bring it out. It's like when you put stickers on. People just throw them on. It's like, hang on a minute, you get air bubbles and stuff under it. Take the time, stick it down. Right. Now that is stuck down flat. It'll grab, it'll stay like that. So now just give it 10 minutes to settle in and do its thing. As you can see, I didn't get it correctly where I had it, but the glue's on there, so that's all that matters. And you can see, like, I can't get my fingernail under it now. So, I did there. So be very careful that you don't touch the glue and then touch that, because the glue will stick to your finger, the glue will then go on the print and pull the ink off. Unless, like other guys I know that do custom work, they can sometimes spray that with an adhesive, workable adhesive, and it clears it. That's up to you whether you want to do that or not. I don't. Doesn't mean I'm right. Alright, let's give this 10 minutes and then we'll get back to it. Okay, so here we go. Now we're up to cutting the box out, etc. It's glued down good and it's a little bit tacky on the edges. That's because it hasn't had anything to bind with. So when we're working on this, we don't want to be resting on that all the time. So this is where I trim that piece off. So just like that. Alright. So your little mat. You just got to be careful with your mat obviously because it's not as big as the card. So I just leave it stick out a bit so I can see how far I can cut to. And then just get your knife nice and sharp. Find the edge. As close as you can. It's not rocket science this bit. As long as your knife's sharp, that's the trick. You'll be able to cut through your card easier. It'll leave a nice sharp edge. You won't get burring and you won't be tearing. I've seen people cutting cardboard and stuff and they're tearing at the cardboard to get it to cut. If it's at that point, you might as well not be doing it. So, nice and easy. There'll still be a little bit of glue on this, but you'll start trimming it off soon to the lines and you'll find that you don't have to worry about that. Just don't rush, that's the trick. I've been on deadlines trying to get stuff done for people and I've rushed and you end up trimming it out the wrong way or the knife grabs and runs and slices your box in the wrong spot and then you've got to start again, reprint, you lose days. So just take your time. And being that this is a video on how to make these boxes, the last thing I want to do is look like a goose and screw it up in front of everybody else, which is highly likely. Okay, right, do that little bit there. Right, now you've got rid of 90% of the trouble you're going to have with the glue. There you go, done. Alright, so I must explain, you can see these fold lines. Usually I don't print them this dark, but I wanted to because I'm making a video so you can actually see what I'm doing. So when it comes time to cut, there's a spot here where there's no actual line. No need to panic. I'll do it this way because it's for the camera. All you need to do is line point to point and cut, and that's the right spot, okay? That easy. There's a couple of spots like that. This one here is the same. You just go from the point to the point. It'll cut the line out perfect. And the reason that bit's grey is because I think it's that one sticks over that one, so you don't see it anyway. That's just to give you a guide as to where to stick it. When you're doing your pop icon here, I actually haven't drawn a line around it because everyone's different. Well, look at Batman, he'd have the ears, or Fire Jack, he'd have fire, or then there's just a normal one, or ladies with hair. So you leave it. So what you do is when you get to that point and we're cutting that out, you just cut it 3 mil from the edge. You just follow your own line and take your time. There's no right or wrong with that. Unless you're cutting like 15 mil out and it looks ridiculous, then it might be a bit more obvious. So that is that. Alright, so that will be a separate piece on its own, that'll come apart. Then this is one box. And that's it. So I'm going to shut up. I'm going to start cutting. Actually, before I say that, when you put your ruler on the actual paper to cut, you cut to the outside edge of the line. Don't cut on the line, cut to the outside edge of the line. And that's fine. Don't cut your fold lines. And as I said, they're darker than they usually would be. You need them so you know where to mark it to fold it. And I'll show you how to do that later too. So I'm going to shut up. Let's speed this thing up and let's cut it out. Okay, so now as you can see, I've cut the box out, cut all the little divots out, and this is the separate piece I was talking about that's been cut out. I scratched it, see that? Well, the camera can spot that, but I put a scratch on it. Problem with using a metal ruler, it's great for the sharp edge, but sometimes you can scratch it. That would be no good and I'd have to print another one out. But that piece there will actually, when we glue it down, will fit on that piece right there. So then you got your full box, see? Beautiful. Right, and it's nice and thick. It's glued down perfect. It's like it's one piece of cardboard. Okay. Now, the last bit you need to trim out is the center window. Now, when you trim it out, keep that piece because you can use that as your template for your plastic that goes in there later. So let's trim that out now. And I'll show you what I do when I get around to this bit. So I always start up here. Might flip it around to make it easier. You want to really try and make sure you take your time with this bit because it's the first thing people are going to look at is the window because it hides the pop. I have made many boxes where I've been working on this piece and I have stuffed it. I've just sick of cutting and I get to the point where I think, oh, it'll be right, and bang, before you know it, I've sliced through it. Like I've gone like right through sometimes, just the knife grabs, and as soon as you feel your knife sort of grabbing and not behaving the way it should, that's the time to snap the blade off and get a new one. Because your knife's telling you it's not happy. And a not happy knife ends in disaster. Righto, so you're pretty much done now with the knife. With the ruler. Unless you wanted to cut that little piece with the ruler. Yeah, I can probably do it by hand. So now you just take your time. Put the tip of your knife in where that last point was. And then just gently rotate. But keep your knife straight because you don't want like a beveled edge happening. Alright, you get to the point, stop. And I always, when I'm doing it, I just sort of lift it up to make sure it's cutting because if I can go back over it while I'm there, I will. Now, this one comes down. And remember, you've got to stop a couple of mils short of the pop itself because this is where you trim around. Alright, so you can see it's cut out. It's cut out all the way down there. Now, I'm actually going to continue this cut line here a little bit further because the pop, it wasn't 3mm from the pop, that's alright. It's easy fixed. Righto. So this is where you just need to use a steady hand, alright? There's no right or wrong here. Just push the cardboard up so you can see where your last cut point went to, which is about there. And you start. And when you're cutting, you don't have to bend the knife because sometimes the knife doesn't want to go the way you want it. But you can manipulate the paper and keep the knife still. So let's have a go at this. Wish me luck, YouTube fans. Nice and gentle. And just keep looking at the figure you're working towards. And you're not going to get it exactly right. You just look at the figure you're working towards and try and keep it the same distance around as you're going. Stop there. Now, if all's gone well, I'm going to pop that window straight out and way keep that because that's for your plastic insert. And you've now cut out a box. Perfect. That's what you want. Okay, so a little trim bit there. So if you see any little bits sticking out like that, just run your knife across them and take them off. Thank you. Right, that box is now ready for folding. It's ready to go. Okay, so the next step in this process is obviously going to be time to stick that to there with a bit of glue. So I'll stick that now, press it down, and once it's glued on, I'm going to let it sit for a few hours and just really dry out because once you start folding, you don't want the glue to be separating from where you put it. So, here we go. This stuff is good for paper. It sticks really fast. You can work with it for, well, maybe a minute, but once it grabs, it grabs. There's heaps of different settings for it. Make sure you get all the old glue off the top that's dry, because that actually forms little dots. And just put it on. Don't go right to the edge of this stuff, because you can smear it with your finger and you don't want it coming out the edge. Right. So I smear it with my finger. I just paintbrush it on, so to speak. Okay. Clean up. No 5. Get that glue off your finger. Be a disaster. Righto. Take your time. Go to the front edge. Just really stuff it straight up. Work it to the edge, and I can feel like grabbing already. Make sure it all lines up to the sides and across there. When you're happy with where it is, let it sit. Paper on. Squeegee. Let's give it a good old smashing. Right, that's down. Okay, if I pick that up, I won't fall off. That's how quick this stuff works. But I'm actually going to let it sit and dry for a good hour, and we'll come back and fold it. Try not to throw that piece out. Just let it sit somewhere close. Clean up, put your stuff away. We're all good. All right, talk soon.